Hey everybody, welcome to Foolery Friday. Got our panel, we got Ernest, the relationship guru, Sierra Michelle, the relationship expert, and we have a special guest with us, Conrad from Virginia Beach, from the Beach Brothers Show. Tonight we're going to have some more relationship foolery. Sit back, have fun, ask questions, and we will be with you in 1 minute.
Hosted by Cousin Niki. It's the king of the zoo. Young Ward, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe, ayy. Like, comment, subscribe, ayy. You know the vibes, ayy. You know the vibes, ayy. Like, comment, subscribe, ayy. Like, comment, subscribe, ayy.
Welcome back to Foolery Friday. So let's jump right on into it. So last week we talked about when people initially meet each other at the club, what the expectations are, and we all had different opinions, different point of views. So we touched on at the end about self-worth and what women typically tolerate or what they will tolerate. And that leads us to our topic for tonight. What people tolerate in relationships in order to make it work, or what they're not willing to tolerate in order to make it work. But we're going to start this thing off with, here's the question, and anybody jump in. A man is dating two women. He lies to one about this and is truthful with the other. Which relationship does he value more?
The one he told the truth.
Yeah, when he told the truth.
I would agree.
Because when you tell her,
expound.
When you tell her the truth, you give her the ability to make the decision. So you told her, hey, it's somebody else over here, but I care about you, so I want you to know that. So she can either say, you know what, I'm not with it, I'm gonna go. Or she could say, okay, well, I thank you for telling me the truth. And, that ain't going to be able to last too long. But, whatever situation they're in, she might be with it. But the one he lied to, he just kind of stringing her along. And he really don't care whether she like it or not. Because for him, it's his own self-worth.
Conrad?
To put it succinctly, that gives her the power. She's correct. If you are straight up into the point with who you're with on the one you value more, then she has the power, the discretion. If you're stringing another person along, then they're literally in the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, relationship guru, Ernest.
I kind of agree with Sierra, but I kind of thought it through because you can lie to somebody you serious with too, because you kind of want them there to stay with you. Like you really like that person, so you want them there, so you don't want to kind of hurt them with it. Because, like I said, I dated a woman before that I wasn't really into, so I did both. I lied and told the truth, and mostly was because depending on how they was able to handle it. Some of them just couldn't handle it, and some can. So that's how I moved.
So that takes me back to the movie Baby Boy when Jody told Yvette, "I lie to you because I love you." So do you think there's love involved when people do a lot of lying in a relationship?
I think it's selfish love. Like if you lie to me just because you want to keep me there because you need a fallback plan, I think that's selfish. Because why lie to that woman when she can going to a man that can treat her better? But for a lot of the time, like we talked about last week, it's ego. Like, I'd rather have her here because I know that she's a fallback plan. She ride for me. She good to me, but I still want my cake and eat it too. So,
Ernest?
Like I said, it's all on the person. It's all on the individual. Some women can handle truth. Some women can't. It's all on the person. That's how I feel. I feel it's not about love or a line or how much you like the person. All that. It's just on the person, on what they can handle, on what you feel they can handle.
Conrad, jump on in.
Yeah, I don't really philosophically appreciate the idea of wanting to make a habit of lying to someone that you definitely care for, because that's defeating the purpose of where you're applying your care. For instance, I'm newly engaged, and thank you. I the only thing I would lie about is like where I want to go out to eat that night or something like that. I'm not going to apply anything regarding lying because we're definitely in sync together, and I would want to hope that this is a belief that many more share.
So, do you necessarily not care for the person when you lie to them?
I think, like Ernest said, sometimes it can depend because I know a lot of men, they like to spare their feelings. So, what could possibly happen if you told that woman you cheated on her. You know that she'll possibly walk out and never talk to you again. So, if you don't want that to happen, then you'll probably lie and be like, no, I'm not cheating on you.
So can you love somebody and cheat on them though? So like, again, back to the self-worth. If you're with somebody and you're cheating on them, are you lacking something in the relationship in order for you to cheat? I mean, do you still love them? And if you're cheating, does that play a part of your self-worth? And if you're getting cheated on?
Ernest got to take the man perspective, but I could say, from a person who has been cheated on, it kind of depends. Like if you're going through a rocky stage in that relationship and you've been going through it for some time, you might lean on somebody else, and then that leaning on somebody else turns to leaning into somebody else, and then that's how that starts. And then before you know it, you don't got a whole new relationship with somebody else. And you don't want the drama and the fallout of telling that person, hey, I've been cheating on you for the last 6 months because we argue every day or we don't have sex no more or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, as far as your self-worth, being cheated on, if, I've always been the person, what you allow will continue. So if that person has cheated on you numerous amount of times, I really don't see them not cheating on you because at this point you've shown them that you allow it. So I think for a lot of women, like I know, I was talking about this with some of the women in my family back in the day, having somebody was better than having nobody. So yeah, he might have cheated on them, but he bring the money home, he working, he take care of the kids, he take care of the house. Hey, at least I got something.
Conrad, is something better than nothing?
Something is better than nothing, I guess, generally. But if you already have the thing that you have, you don't want to let that go away. And I guess laying it out on the line that if you've been with someone long enough and then things start to dry up and you don't feel like you're actually with them anymore, that's where you might start to creep into that idea that you might want to start cheating. But if you began doing that early on, then that's just greediness. And if you're too greedy for one person, then that's a personal problem.
Ernest, you are reformed hoe. There is redemption.
It's so many reasons to cheat, and when I talk about it, people be judging people on cheating, and it's so many reasons. It could be ego, the relationship, communication. It could be so many reasons. With my marriage, yeah, I did cheat. I don't really feel like speaking on much on it because my ex might see the page. So, but she knows I cheated, and
Does she?
Yeah, she knows. So, but it's so many reasons. It's so many
Right.
reasons to why people cheat.
So back to the self-worth. Is what you accept from others what you think you deserve?
I don't think all the time, because I kind of touched on it last week. They say you date at the level of your self-esteem. So if you have low self-esteem and then you know, feel some type of way about yourself, you don't feel as pretty, you don't feel as small as you used to be, and you have a man come in and he might not necessarily be the greatest man, but he, you know, show you a little affection, show you a little attention that you're not used to, then you'll do that. And then again, at the expense of having somebody, because you know, the saying is having somebody is better than having nobody. You may just accept it, and he may just be like the bottom of the barrel, but at least you have something. So a lot of women with low self-esteem tend to gravitate to men that they're not the best, but he's here, he's present, and he helps me to feel good in this moment. So why not? He cheated on me with 3 different women, but hey, it's something.
So, Conrad, from a male's point of view, is what you accept. Do you think that you deserve it? Things that you accept, is it based off of, well, I deserve this because I can't do any better, or I deserve this because I did the same thing to somebody else in the past, so now it's my karma? Do you think that people feel like is what you accept from others what you think you deserve?
I think it would be more of a balancing act between the word deserve and the word tolerance. And whether or not you would tolerate someone else's actions, if you feel you don't deserve it, then you would say something. But you would also, I don't know, you really appreciate that person, even if they cheated. You would still want to think that you deserve that person that you love, even if they messed around. It becomes tolerance versus deserve. And I think because I'm not entirely sure how accurately we want to use deserve on this, if that makes sense. I think it's more tolerance.
So, Ernest, tolerance versus deserve, they both still play a role in self-worth and self-esteem and what you will allow a person to do to you. So do the two coincide, or are they different, like Conrad just said?
They're different. I believe everything goes on what the person feels they worth. I got friends that's women, and I tell them all the time they kind of just deal with anything just to have something, and I'm like, you don't know your worth. I mean, it's all on their worth, like getting beat up by a man, dude cheating, all types of stuff, and I'm like, you don't know your worth, or just dating with somebody that there's no future with. You know what I mean? It's just it's all on their worth. It's not. They just want to have some. Some people they just know somebody.
So with that being said, what we talked about last week was we touched on it, or either I just mentioned or one of us mentioned it, about women having one man, but he's with 2 and 3 other women, and that has been kind of the norm for certain people that you see. They don't mind being second or third as long as they have him. So my question to you, Ernest, is, and I said this last week, do men prey on those type of women? And do men like women who are passive or who will allow them to get away with these things versus someone who says, no, I'm not going to do it?
No, we don't prey on. It's kind of like, I guess women know it's not a lot of men out here. You know, I said it before, women outnumber is, kind of 3 to 1 and probably more than that. And they know the numbers is slim out here. So, and they kind of just want to deal with anything, just deal with whatever the dude is giving. Some, like I said, it all has to do with worth, on what they feel they worth. So,
Conrad?
I guess you would only want to use the word prey if you feel like that you need to be hunting. If you're, for instance, when I met my fiance, I went online to do it. It's not very pickup related. Last week, it seemed like that was more, you're deliberately going out to a bar setting to try to meet someone face to face, and then perhaps here's a drink, and then we'll see what happens from there, as opposed to being a little bit more strategic, deliberately trying to reach out one-on-one via conversation. That is, I guess, less huntering type of aspect, and not really into the idea of wanting to feel like women should be preyed on.
Are you a hunter, Conrad?
Not a hunter.
Not in the least bit. Sierra, what you got?
I think to touch on the hunter aspect, men are natural hunters. So they go after what they want. You know, when you went online to meet your girlfriend and you saw how beautiful she was, you went after what you want. So men are natural hunters. But I do think there are some men who there's a level to what they want. I don't want a woman who, you know, she like, look, this is what I'm going to accept. This is what you need to bring to the table. I don't want somebody like that. I want somebody who's a little quiet. She do what I need to do. She do what she need to do for me in the bed, and that's it. I don't need all that riffraff talking. And I have met men like that who be like, no, I'm not going to do what you telling me. Oh, this is the standard you accept. I'm really going to take what I give you, or that's it. So I do think there are some women who prey on women who, you know, because a lot of the times women wear their emotions on their sleeve. So a lot of the times you can tell that a woman has a lower self-esteem, but you can tell she doesn't feel that great about herself just by, you know, the conversation you have with her. So I definitely think there are some men who prey on women with lower self-esteem.
Oh, I got some to add that. Like, okay, like when I was dating, like for me, I didn't like going for dimes. You know, I felt was pretty woman. You know what I mean? Like just because I'm like, that's too much work.
You like them a little ugly?
What is that?
You like them a little ugly? Is that what you saying?
No, I just feel like they was too much work. They just feel like they was too much work. So it had nothing to do with
you like to keep them humble?
Pretty though.
Yeah, but it's some fives that's confident. It has nothing to do because it's some nines and tens that some of these pretty women have the lower self-esteem. Nothing has to do with looks, but I just felt like, you know, some tens and nines, I felt like I had to do too much work. You know what I mean? I felt like they was expensive. But it had nothing to do with, you know, what they would tolerate or, you know, they so forth. I was like, I feel like they too expensive. I got to work a little too hard than what I normally would.
Well, what's wrong with working to court a woman?
Why you got to work hard? Why you just can't her standard?
Well, I don't know. I'm going off my standard. My standard is, you know, $50 a date and
Conrad, you like them a little ugly? To keep them humble, like Ernest?
I found my 10, but I'm pretty.
I hear that.
When you go into situations like that, you go in thinking that courting is sort of how you wanted to do it anyway, because you are looking past just that initial situation, or at least if you're looking specifically for dating. If it's different if you only wanted to do a one-night situation, but if you're looking for dating, then you got to be looking for courting.
I don't think some men know how to court though. Like courting has become like a very, you know, it's
a lost art.
Yes.
I don't think people even say courting.
You know how to court. Like I know, like, you know, I dated a guy who, you know, he like, oh, you want me to open your door? I'm like, yeah, I do.
We know how to court. It's just some women don't care for it that much. Like I said, they do what they
know how to be courted. It works both ways. Some women don't realize that a man should open my car door, and a man should open my door, and a man should get the umbrella for me. Some women don't realize it because they never
walk you up to your steps.
Some women don't want that. Like I said, I didn't have to take a lot of women on dates. I mean, I did it because I knew I did it even though I didn't have to. But it was like I said, it was something small. You know what I mean? So
why didn't you?
So do you think that women are so, I don't want to say desperate. Do you think that some of the women that maybe you've encountered or that you know are kind of like so thirsty for a man that they would just be like, you know, give me the scraps. I don't even care.
But it depends on if you are attractive or not too. I couldn't do it if I was some ugly dude. I mean, so you got to be.
Who said you was cute?
I'm all right. But I'm just saying, it's not everybody can't get away with it. Everybody can't get away with it. You know what I mean? It's not for everybody. So,
Conrad,
I would imagine that the concept of courting is to prove to someone who doesn't know you how worthy you are. So it's not only so much that they have their own idea of self-worth. We're trying to see if we're on the same level. And courting at least sorts that level out to see if either side is worthy of the other when the other doesn't know.
So let the table turn. Would you be able to, as men, date a woman who had more than one man?
Probably at the dating aspect of it, but if I'm looking to try to get exclusive, that's when you would want to have to let someone know that, hey, I want to be exclusive.
Ernest, can you handle the tables turning?
Yeah, well, because I mean, I used to tell I was a multi-dater, so I'm not a hypocrite. If I'm doing the same thing, you could do the same thing too. You know what I mean, so I had no issue.
Sierra?
If I was dating more than one man,
Yeah, like, so I guess from a male's point of view, no, I don't know a male's point of view, but I can imagine that they want to keep their options open when they're dating. So they have 2 or 3 women that they rotate out, and I guess they pick the one, or, more truthful to the one that they're more interested in. And women, by and large, really don't have an issue with that. So my thing is, could a man fall in line and date a woman who wanted more than one guy, who wanted to date more than one guy? Can their egos withstand it?
I think for a short period of time. I think that because I think like in the first 30 days, you in that butterfly phase. But after like that first month, you like, okay, now, like, I want to get exclusive. I think the problem though is not a lot of women serial date. It's just like as soon as we meet somebody, it's instantly like, oh, he's my boyfriend. We planning a wedding in a year. And I don't think and men, they grasp the concept of, no, I need to see what else is out here. I need to see if I want you to be my wife. I need to see. But women tend to clasp on, and we just like, mine. And so that's why a lot of the times their feelings get hurt, because it's just like, you're not allowing yourself to serial date. You're not kind of putting yourself first and, following your career or putting your education first. You just like, well, I got a man and he's my man. And sometimes the communication is broken because you may be like, oh, he's my boyfriend. He's like, no, I'm serial dating and I'm dating 3 other women. And that's not the case. And then your feelings are hurt because you thought that y'all were exclusive when you weren't. But I just think women definitely have a problem with grasping that concept of serial dating.
Yep.
What is, if you're serial dating, how do you do the process of elimination?
Your standards. Like, this for a woman, it could be your standards. If you don't like that, or sometimes it's attractiveness. So if you meet a guy online and he catfish you or he hatfish you or do something, then you could be like, no, this ain't what you gave me on Plenty of Fish. So no, I'm not gonna do that. But I think ultimately it's your standards. Like he could say, I worship Satan and you love Jesus. Cut. Or he could say, I don't like women who, I don't know, talk to their parents all the time. There are men like that. He say, but I think it's like it's up to your standards for a woman.
Anybody else? Ernest?
When I was serial dating, it was mostly no.
Why don't you just say when you was hoeing?
Serial dating. When I was multi-dating, most of them, there was no potential to go anywhere else. So I was just kind of dating. But if it was somebody serious, then I would cut off. If it was somebody, because like I said, if I met somebody off the first week, I was able to tell, all right, this is the person I want to work on. So I would cut everybody off. You know what I mean? But when I was serial dating, I wasn't really interested in it. It was no future. I could figure out if there's no future after a week or 2 weeks. I'm like, all right, they just here.
Conrad?
I would imagine that you would start weeding people out after your first couple disagreements. And if you could see that after a couple disagreements that it's not getting to be even more in sync than what it was, then that's where you start eliminating and doing the process of elimination. Because even if you're only with one person, it wouldn't work out if you start to have disagreement.
Let's get down to some foolery. Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Virtually he went into obscurity. No one knew where he was. No one caught up with him. I don't think he was that important to anybody. But this is what he said about in our interview following what has been going on with him. I think just in the past week and a half. Okay, so he's
Yeah, he popped across my Facebook for like one meme.
So with Alfonso Ribeiro, I believe his name is Carlton Banks. He's married to a white woman.
Kind of figured.
And
Kind of figured.
Yeah, that's what I said when I saw it, like, oh, yeah, that tracks.
That's his type.
I just kept going. But this is what he said. It still happens almost every day, unfortunately, about having his blackness challenged. I'm in a mixed relationship. Let me see what he said. His full comment. I'm in my own little world with support from almost no one. To be in love with someone I've fallen in love with. How does that make sense? It doesn't. We all want to live in a world where everyone is accepted for being and loving and living the way they choose to live. I will support any person that wants to live in a world that they want to live in. I live in a mixed world. I love in a mixed world. I live in a black world, and I love in that world. I feel everyone should be supported. He thinks blacks don't support him and don't want to see him win because he's married to a white woman.
We didn't even know.
I didn't even care.
I thought that that's like what he's dated in the past. I thought, but I mean, there are some black people. There are some pro-black people who just they don't get down with the swirl. They just do not at all. I personally don't care. Whatever makes you happy makes you happy. I'm not gonna sit up here and hate on you because you're married to a Karen. It's not my business.
Karen.
I didn't care. I don't care.
Well, you're not marrying a Karen, Conrad.
No Karens here.
Conrad's fiance is chocolate.
Let's go.
Let's go, Conrad! So, Ernest, do you think should black is there any merit to what he's saying? Is there any credence to what he's saying? That black people have turned on him because he's married to a white woman.
Ain't nobody thinking about him. Ain't nobody. First of all, I have no issue with a black versus a black woman dating outside their race, as long as they ain't talking that woke pro-black stuff. That's when I'm like, what? Now I'm kind of I'm raising my eyebrows. You know what I mean? But other than that, I can care less. Do what you do, love who you love, but just don't be talking that pro-black. I'm woke, black violence. You know what I mean? That's I'm cool. Go ahead, do you? But ain't nobody thinking about it. I ain't even know.
There are people
I didn't care.
I used to follow a girl on Instagram, and she made a comment that I don't know if y'all remember the Gucci battle. She made a comment that Gucci had already won because he married a black woman as opposed to Jeezy, who did not. And everybody was just like, why? What was the need for that comment? Because she was like, I'm blickety black, and everything. Black men need to be with black women because black women support them more. But that just goes to show you there are people who think like that.
Conrad?
To be honest, I feel kind of sheltered in this because I don't have an experience actually dating white women. So because of that, I don't get to see the white on white support versus black on black support, and whether I fit in here as a white dude who like black women. That I guess it's an intersection of different bubbles. For instance, he might have his own trials and tribulations he has felt around his own family and her family and his friends. But again, this wasn't outside of that. It sounded like a news story that he wanted to create. But if you're twirling or you're in an interracial relationship, you are going to see it still in 2021. I know that there were family members that I was not going to travel to with her. And I imagined possibly vice versa. But that is not something I wanted to be, or a hurdle that I even attempted to jump over because I wanted to specifically be with her.
So, two things about him that's problematic. Number one, I don't think enough black people care too much for him. That's the first thing. But the second thing is there were videos that surfaced of him saying how he loved white women, that he goes after white women, he only wants blonde white women. And there's another video surfaced of him that he says he's not black, he's Latino. So it's like, now you're not getting any coins. Now you want to say it's because, he's like, you create your own problems.
He's just trying to become relevant. So he bring up race. That's all it is. The race talk, it makes it relevant, it makes you feel important. Don't we got a show? He got funniest home video or something. He the co-host of that show, or is it off?
Nobody watches that, Ernest.
I just seen it on the TV or something like that. I was like, oh.
You turn it off. Nobody watches him.
Last time I watched that, Bob Saget was the host.
Yeah, me too. When I was like 7 to 8 years old. When that was
yeah, Bob Saget was the host last time I saw that. But nobody cares. So
it's just like, if he's not, you can't expect to get support from the same people you denounce. Like, if you said that you're not black, I'm proud to be black.
Hey.
Proud to be, be proud of your race, but don't be going out here saying you Latina. And then you think that the black people, because we one big gang, we're gonna be like, okay, well, if you don't want to come to the cookout, don't come there.
Not at all. So we got one last question, and this is some real foolery. Okay?
For that.
And this goes back to the self-worth. A man named Coochie. That's his name. I ain't lying. His name Coochie.
To me, show me.
His name Coochie. I can't. His name Coochie.
Is it spelled with a C or a K?
It's a C, bro. It's the original way.
How you spell it? Because I got a coworker. It sounds like that, but it's not. It's not. It's spelled like
Coochie. Coochie. You know how to spell Coochie.
I thought you were saying it right, pronouncing it
Your
right.
ass know how to spell. You know how to say it.
Question is why, though?
Why would you do that to you?
Why would you want to adopt that name? That's what I'm.
Oh my God!
But it's his name. Okay, so this is what he said. I'm not gonna say the whole word, but he says, "Yeah, I buy pee, not because I need to, but I'm really just too busy and grown to try and finesse the draws off. I got money. I got more money than time."
You buy pee because your name is Coochie.
His name Coochie. I'm not lying.
I'm not bringing him home to my parents and be like, Mom, Dad, meet my husband, Coochie.
See, if you're not like he's with someone, then he would actually have more time than we would.
He said he doesn't have time to finesse the draws off a woman.
I don't think it's time. That's the issue. I think it's confidence because of his name.
I'm sure that's just his profile name. But
let's give him molester vibes. He got like molester vibes or something. Dang.
But here's the question: for one, I've never seen anybody publicly profess to, I pay for it because I don't have time to finesse the draws off a woman. But the bigger question is, do we not have standards of not decency? Because prostitution is like the oldest profession of all. You're not going to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time that people who paid for it, there was a little shame attached to it. You did it in private. You bought it in private. You did your due in private. Nobody knew. In private. So why now do people, and he's not the only one, I'm sure, for him to say it out loud like that.
I know some dudes like that.
What's the deal? Why pay for it?
They can't get it. They can't get it without paying for it. They can't get it without paying. You should see some of the ones out that I work with that, like, I'm going to DR, I'm going over here to get some vagina. You know what I mean? Because they can't get it without paying for it. And they know that. They know that.
I think
All
that
right.
I would second that opinion. Then if you're
What kind of internet do you have?
what?
You got dial up?
that sounds like AOL.
That's not an AOL. You stacky.
Well, I have an AOL account.
Wait, was that Ernest?
I'm on my phone though, so I just
Okay, start over. Go for it.
just trying to say that if we all know that that is a commodity to some people that is selling it, which means in that concept it is that easy, meaning I think that's all he wanted to do was to get it that easily. He didn't want to do anything to put in any more effort than that. In fact, he decried the very concept of putting in effort.
So do men have more money than time? I mean, is this a growing thing where, or is it just something that now people are just saying out loud?
I guess partially a lazy thing. Because I don't necessarily agree to the idea that he doesn't have time. He had the time to make the video and the post, didn't he? So I'm pretty sure he has enough time if he wanted to commit to it.
Yeah.
Make time for what you want.
That's true. I think in this Kevin Samuels era that we're in, that a lot of men just feel like, money equals P. Because as equally as there's men out here saying that, I ain't gonna have to do nothing but pay for it, there are women literally out here saying you don't have to do nothing but pay for it. So it's kind of like a vice versa equilibrium that they just like, well, if you can be a party piece, you have to get something special for the night. But I mean, I think like for men like that, it's either like Ernest was saying, like they don't have a choice because they can't get it no other way, or some men just feel that demeaning that I'll just pay for it because I'm not about to sit up here and court you.
Okay. So that's it for the night. Foolery Friday. We end the show talking about our new friend Coochie.
I'm about to look him up.
I seen that post. I didn't pay no attention. So I seen that post.
Coochie says he pays for it. Any final thoughts? Our relationship. We have our resident relationship guru, Ernest, the reformed hoe.
12-step program.
I need people to start paying for my information. I'll be trying to help people out here in the streets daily. Let them know they worth. You know what I mean?
Not calling them fat.
And ugly. No, he likes some ugly, a little ugly.
That's workout advice. That's workout advice. Nah, I ain't saying I like it on the track. I said 9s and 10s I kind of stayed away from. You know what I mean? Because I knew it was too much work. Too expensive.
So you want people that you ain't got to put that much effort in.
You don't gotta open her doors.
No. It's the effort is requires effort. Like I said, I'm going to court you, but I'm not looking for a first date to be Roof Chris. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm talking about. Roof Chris is a steakhouse. You want a $200 first date or something? You know what I mean? That's like I said, I got some of my boys. They date these pretty women. They got to put in. They be putting in a lot of work. They put in a lot of work.
Pretty don't mean you got to put in a lot of work.
That's true.
Standards too.
That's true. I mean, they be liking these model looking chicks that deal with these guys that got a lot of money and stuff. So they kind of used to a certain thing. So I'm like, I'm good. My boy used to try to hook me up back in the day, and I seen how they look. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll pass. That's too much work for me. Too much work for me.
Sierra, you got any relationship advice?
I'm sorry, what you say, Nikki?
So you got any relationship advice before we go?
Women got to be more confident. Bring your confidence to the table and stand on it.
Conrad?
I would want to close out by endorsing the idea of trying hard. By that, I mean I'm reminded of one quote from probably one of my favorite Robin Williams movies, Dead Poet Society, where he had mentioned to the class that language was invented for one reason and one reason only, and that's to woo women. And in that effort, laziness will not do. So put in the effort.
You're a real philosopher for Foolery Friday, Conrad.
Look, shit, that was good.
Write that down.
Shit.
Write that down, Conrad.
Let me get my pencil.
And folks need to stop letting these social media dictate what they want in a relationship too.
That can be for next week. Does social media dictate what we want in a relationship in their unrealistic expectations? As a matter of fact, Sierra, you made a post a few weeks ago about a gentleman who I guess he paid for everything, and people jumped down my damn throat when I said that ain't realistic.
I didn't know it was gonna go like that, Nikki. I didn't know.
She made it. There was a guy. No, we can talk about this next week. But there was a guy. Sierra posted it, and he pays for everything. He fixed his girl, while she was still dating him. He fixed her credit. He bought some stuff. He paid for all this. He paid for all this shit. And everybody was like, "Yes, it can be done." And come to find out, this guy making 6 figures and is an attorney. You're not about to get an college man to do all that. You're not going to get a teacher to do all that. But
Girl is not paying your debt off, baby.
Hey,
I was in Facebook jail for that one, so I couldn't comment.
What you in the Facebook jail for?
I seen that post. I was like, man, I'm in Facebook jail. I can't comment, but I really want to get into it though.
But look, we'll talk about it next week. So next week on Foolery Friday, we will talk about if social media dictating how our relationships go. And we will talk about who pays for the first date. Since Ernest said he's not taking nobody to Ruth Chris, and we know last week he said he would go by Wingstop.
Lemon pepper wings with the fries.
Flats. He said, I'll get a flats. So join us next week for Foolery Friday when we talk about who pays for the first date. And we will also talk. What did I just say we talk about? Oh, the social media putting expectations on our relationships. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Ernest, our resident relationship expert. Sierra, thank you for joining us, Conrad. And we will see you all again next week. Bye.
Political politics, hosted by Cousin Niki. It's the king of the zoo. Young Ward, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe, ayy. Like, comment, subscribe, ayy. You know the vibes, ayy. You know the vibes, ayy. Like, comment, subscribe.